Chapter 17 I've called Jesus Prays. Jesus makes a prayer with three compartments. Firstly, he prays for himself that his glory may be restored. Then he prays for the disciples that they may be protected. And he prays for us that we may have unity. Let's look first at verse 4 to 5 of chapter 17. I have brought you glory on earth by completing the work you gave me to do. And now, Father, glorify me in your presence with the glory I had with you before the world began. This is the Shekinah glory. This is the glory that came down upon the tabernacle and on the temple in the Old Testament so strongly that the people couldn't look at it. This is the glory that you can't look at or you die. Moses said, Lord, show me your glory. Read about it in Exodus 33:18 to 23. And it was impossible for God to show him his glory or he would die looking at it. So he put him behind a rock and hid him with his hand and passed behind him. Also, read 2 Corinthians 3:7 to 18. And it talks about how the glory of the Lord that shone on Moses' face when he went in to see and speak with God was so great that he had to veil his face. And it goes on to say that the glory of the second covenant, the new covenant, is even more glorious. And it talks about the glory that we have in verse 18. And we who with unveiled faces all reflect the Lord's glory are being transformed into his likeness with ever increasing glory which comes from the Lord who is the Spirit. That glory, Jesus says, I am the light of the world. We're told that God is a consuming fire. It's a power, a radiance, a majesty, goodness, beauty. It's very hard to find a word to describe it. One of the best descriptions is in Revelation 1:13 to 16, where John has a vision of the risen Christ. Philippians 2 describes to us how when Jesus came to earth, he was emptied of his glory, that Shekinah glory. And he came to earth as a man, where we could look upon him. But when he went back to heaven, that glory was restored to him. And what he'd given up was returned, so that every knee will one day bow and every tongue confess that Jesus is Lord, to the glory of God. Then he prays for the disciples, and he asks God to protect them. Verse 15, my prayer is not that you take them out of the world, but that you protect them from the evil one. They are not of the world, even as I am not of it. Jesus is not there with them physically, but the Holy Spirit is, and he's promised his protection over his people as they go about their business for him. Also, he sanctifies them. Verse 17, sanctify them by the truth. Your word is truth. As you sent me into the world, I've sent them into the world. For them I sanctify myself, that they too may be fully sanctified. Sanctification is a setting apart. We do not walk as the world walks. We march to a different drum beat. Gideons have a set of spiritual objectives, and one of them is to be men and women of separated walk. Then Jesus prays for us. Listen to verse 20. My prayer is not for them alone. I pray also for those who will believe in me through their message. We're those people. We believe in him through the message. And he's prayed for us for unity. I have given them the glory that you gave me, that they may be one as we are one. In them, I in them, and you in me. May they be brought to complete unity, to let the world know that you sent me and have loved them even as you have loved me. That was verse 22 and 23. There is glory that comes upon us when we remain in oneness, in unity. It demonstrates the same love as God has for us that we have for others. Next week, we will study chapter 18, the sinless one on trial. Jesus underwent 6 trials. What charges were brought against him? How many of the charges were true? And what travesties of justice were committed at these trials? Bye.